We've talked about props and different prop types before. We've even placed several of them in our cool little Counter-Strike level. But let's talk more and actually see some examples of different ways that they're going to function within our levels. So why don't we just use our handy prefab that we just got, our Noesis prefab simple room. Create one of those babies. Speeding ourselves up already. And we'll create one of each different type of prop that we can check out inside of Half-Life 2. So entity tool, switch out of prefabs to our entities. Let's get a prop underscore static. Place one of those babies. I'll zoom in, and I'm just going to shrink my grid a little bit and duplicate that one a few times. Just drag all these guys. Right in front of my player. Alright. We got 4 prop statics. We're going to change that. We're going to select the second one here. We're going to change it to a prop. Physics. We're going to grab the third one. We're going to change it. Prop dynamic. And the fourth guy we're going to change to a prop ragdoll. There we go. Alright, now let's give them all models. And remember that the models that you choose for your prop objects are built for certain types of props. So if we have a mattress, which is what we're going to go through over for our ragdoll here, as a static prop, it may actually appear in the game, but it's not going to have the same functionality. And certain objects may not appear at all if you select the wrong type of prop or the inappropriate type of prop for that model. Alright, so let's start giving our prop some models. We'll go back to our static one here. Change its world model. And a good static object we can take a look at is a fence. There we go, fence 01A. Apply. I want to make sure that it's not sitting in the ground. Shrink our grid a little bit, but with props, you can just put them a unit or grid size or so above the ground, and they should be fine. But second prop, physics prop, world model. Good physics prop. We've already used a couple standard oil drum. Explosive oil drums are always fun. Just get a regular guy right here. Apply. Get your oil drum. Control E. It's off the ground already. Our dynamic prop. There's not as many dynamic props. They're a little harder to show, but search for dynamic. And let's see. We have a door dynamic. There we go. Apply that guy, drag him out of the floor. In your dynamic object, you'll notice some of those guys actually have different sequences in the models if they can be animated. So you can actually go down and check out some of those. A shut door, which is actually cool. Yeah, because kind of bust through, boom, just kind of hitting and struggle with doors. So you have this door just, someone's jiggling the lock. Team that with a sound that looks really good as you're stalking down the hallway. And our ragdoll, which cardboard box that will unfold, or a mattress, which are also a lot of fun. Let's just grab a mattress. Sitting on the floor there, Control E, just move it over. Alright, so we'll be able to interact with each of these objects in different ways, and we'll also want to notice how lighting and stuff affects them. So let's just place a couple entities. We'll place our gun, our weapon, fizz gun. Whoops, we could do a shotgun if you like, but a fizz cannon. Add a fizz cannon. Let's duplicate that guy. Could actually add a typical gun as well. Add a weapon, maybe 357, one of my favorites. And let's give ourselves, a light in our scene, so we can see the different ways that these are affected by lights. Back to our entity. Just do a nice light. Place a light in our scene. And we'll just drag our light, Shift Control E to zoom in on it there. Selection tool, make sure we got it selected. And we'll just pull it kind of in the center of our room. Let's change our light to be something a little more dramatic. So brightness, just make something like a red, a nice deep red light. Alright, so we got a red light. Apply that guy. And we've got a fizz gun, we got a gun, we got our objects. Let's save it, compile. Save it as Noesis prop types. Run. Normal, normal. Normal, normal, normal. We're going to run our game. Okay. Just take a few seconds to compile. It's not too complicated. There we go. Half-Life 2. Here we go. Loading, loading, loading. Okay, we've got our spooky red room. Fizz cannon. Now you'll notice our fence here is kind of casting a shadow. Fence obviously casts kind of a dull shadow, but you can see it from our source of light casting a dark shadow on this side here. Also, can't pick it up, can't interact with it, other than just running into it, not being able to get past it. Next we have our physics object. You'll see that even the gun, our fizz cannon, oh, he knows it's a physics object, so he can just boink, throw it around. Too much fun. Alright. And we have our door. You can interact with it. It's solid. We haven't assigned it any functionality, so other than us watching it kind of bounce around inside of Hammer, it doesn't seem to be doing much more than a normal door. But it does have collision. You'll notice it does not cast shadows, like our barrel here. Check that out. Just put it down nicely. You'll notice there's no shadows being cast by it. And lastly, but definitely not least, we have our mattress, which if we just kind of drag it up and down, you'll notice flops around. It has this kind of actually a skeletal system, so you've got a few bones basically in here that tell it how it can move around. And if we keep shooting it, you see it deform, and we can throw it at like our fence here. Deforms around the fence. Doesn't cast any shadows, but it's still pretty darn cool. Actually, really darn cool. And just simply, we don't have any prop details in here. There are things like grass that we'll check out as being applied on textures, materials. But your fence, you can render these things really quickly, even though they cast shadows. All those light values are going to be calculated when we compile, not on the fly. These guys, the ragdoll props, take a lot of system resources, so you don't want to add very many of them. You can add basically as many physics props as you want. They're pretty darn fun. And dynamic props, which, although just kind of look pretty standard right here, do stress the engine a good amount, but are really, really useful for single-player games and even some deathmatch games and multiplayer games if you use them sparingly to add life to your level, especially when teamed with some good optimization techniques. So there's a good visual playground for your different prop types. Exit. Exit.